Hi, everyone. My name is Preeti, and it is so exciting to be here and talk to you about platform engineering. My topic today is mostly around developer autonomy, platform engineering, culture. You know, those things can sometimes be at odds. But what I'm going to be doing today is talking to you about some strategies that I've built, having spent a fairly long time, like longer than I would care to admit, working in this space. And when Kelsey was on stage earlier talking about deleting Oracle databases, definitely empathized. The one company that's not on the slide right now is Oracle. I started my professional career at Oracle, spent 14 years there. And the reason that I'm sharing this is I've actually, it's been a really interesting journey in that I've been able to witness a number of platform shifts through my career. So VMware, of course, virtualization. And what does virtualization mean to systems engineers and platform teams? Anyone remember Lab Manager? Any Lab Manager? Oh, I see some hands, right. So Lab Manager was one of the products that I was responsible for. And back then, the idea basically was, how do we get more developers using VMs without needing to talk to a system admin? And that was like a platform tool that we were building back there. I spent 5 years at VMware, and then I went to Yahoo. Any ex-Yahoos in the room? I know of at least one. So at Yahoo, I had the privilege to be part of an organization. What was the name of that organization? Any guesses? Platforms. Back in 2013, there was an organization called Platforms that reported into the CEO. And this organization was responsible for everything from bare metal as a service, all the way up to the CDN, all of the Hadoop pieces, all of the internal sort of cloud pieces. And this was also where I had my first real exposure to open source. Yahoo, of course, was known for contributing heavily to open source. Hadoop was built at Yahoo. And we were also huge users of open source as well. From Yahoo, I went to HashiCorp. Anyone heard of HashiCorp? Yes? Amazing. I was actually, when I was at Yahoo, my team, we were using Packer, Vagrant, and Terraform. And so when I got the opportunity to actually run engineering at HashiCorp, that was something I jumped at. I was very familiar with the technology, open source, yet another platform shift. Infrastructure as code, public cloud, et cetera. And then when I left HashiCorp, I went to Temporal. How many folks here know about Temporal? A few. Amazing. The common theme here was that at HashiCorp, we were using Temporal. Temporal was being used for building out both Terraform Cloud as well as the HashiCorp Cloud Platform. And really, across this journey, I've built a lot of experiences and learned a lot of lessons. And so for the next 20 minutes or so, I'm going to walk you through some strategies around culture and how to think about platforms and the teams that you're building and or are part of, right? Awesome. So strategy number one, I have 7 strategies to walk you through. The first one is have a very clear mission. As part of platform engineering, we know that a lot of things kind of get lumped in there. But you need to be very clear about what the mission is and how you're going to go about delivering against it. As an example, I get my companies mixed up. This is Temporal's logo. Our mission at Temporal is to be a shield for developers who are building distributed systems applications. And we do that by handling a lot of the error conditions. If you look closely, our logo represents a shield. We literally live our mission in our logo. Our ethos is to be extremely developer-friendly. And that developer friendliness is also part of our logo. This is sort of how strongly we believe in our mission. As you're thinking about the platform teams that you're part of, make sure you have a super clear mission that is reflected in everything you do. To take it further, does anyone recognize that? Yes? What is that? It's a tardigrade. What is so interesting about a tardigrade? Yes, they are death-proof. And Temporal builds applications that are death-proof, right? So again, this is to just illustrate like how clear your mission needs to be and how strongly you need to believe in it. In fact, we at Temporal believe so strongly in this that we sent Temporal into space with our mascot. If you're interested in learning more about that, just go search on Temporal in space, and you'll find a whole article around it, and just proving how we live our mission is something that I would encourage every platform engineering team to do. All right, so that was strategy number number one. Number two, whatever you're building, make it ridiculously easy to get started. At the end of the day, you're building something that is probably being used internally within your organization. Make it so simple to use that it is a no-brainer, and everybody in the engineering organization starts using this. The lesson that I learned here was from my time at Yahoo. I'm sure some people recognize the red logo there. Yeah? That's OpenStack. Yahoo was a big OpenStack shop. And one of the things that we did at Yahoo was, the first thing we did was build a solution called Open House. And this was a solution where every engineer at Yahoo could go in and get machines, no questions asked. It was hooked up to our identity management system. It was ridiculously easy to get started. And again, I'm talking about 2013 here. Yahoo still wasn't on the public cloud back then. But the point here is, as platforms, as what we're building, really to get adoption, you have to make sure that the piece of technology is so easy to get started that it just kind of snowballs from there. So that was strategy number two. Number three is early wins matter, especially within large companies where platform teams can sometimes be viewed as overhead. Early wins are really, really critical. You have to find the organizations that benefit from the tool, from the platform you're building, and you need to bootstrap together. And here I have two stories. I have a success story. This is a visual from Temporal, where we bring our community in regularly, and we talk about what we're building, what we're bootstrapping as part of open source. This is obviously really critical and meaningful for us. The other side of this coin is actually also another story from Yahoo. One of the teams that I was responsible for was building a platform as a service platform, a PaaS platform, and had committed to using Mesosphere for that. And we'd made a number of 6, 8 months of progress. And there was another team in another group at Yahoo that really started talking about this new thing that was starting to happen called Kubernetes. And so we had our blinders on, and we were like, no, we've spent 8 months doing this. Kubernetes is just so complicated. It's not going to happen. And we were like, we're just going to do this. And of course, that was a huge mistake, right? We should have partnered with the team that was actually going to use this platform and built this thing together. We should have bootstrapped that together. So again, that is strategy number 3, is find your big customers internally as you're building platforms and bootstrap with them, get those early wins, really meaningful. Otherwise, projects can kind of linger and kind of die the slow death as well. Strategy number 4 is talk about it, right? Very often, platform teams kind of just go into a corner and kind of do their thing and don't talk about it, right? How many here have seen this? Yeah, I see a number of hands. So treat your platform just like a product, do all the things. We're very familiar with DevRel around open source projects and products, product management. These things matter. The same patterns matter internally in building platforms and platform engineering as well. So you have to do all the things. You have to go talk to the consumers of your platform. Very often, especially in technical organizations, you think that you build it and they will come, or you're so involved in kind of building the perfect solution that you're not talking about it. You need to. One of the things we've done at Yahoo, for instance, and this is before remote, is we would put posters up in the kitchens around the platforms that we were building. We had T-shirts made, and we would distribute them. So you have to do all these things in terms of making sure that you're getting visibility into what you're building. And of course, I'm sure you've all seen this meme before. So you don't kind of go to profit without doing the heavy work in between. Don't forget that as you're building platforms internally. And another example here is it takes a lot of effort. This is Temporal, for instance, how it started with the 2 co-founders and no audience to conferences where there are packed rooms. This can only happen when you're building a community around the platform that you're building. And even with an internal platform org, the community is your users. Learn from open source and use those lessons internally to make sure that your platform is getting the visibility it deserves, hence the adoption and hence the investment. So that was strategy number 4. And that strategy, of course, is talk about it. All right. Who has consumed a platform and then was like, these people don't know what they're doing, it's not reliable, I'm going to go build my own thing? Yeah? A few hands are raised, right? This, to me, is ultimately the most important thing, right? It's not just that your platform needs to be reliable. You, the engineering organization, the engineers, need to be reliable. If there is a question that's asked, you're responding to it. You are showing up in your interactions reliably as well. The examples I have here, this one is from Temporal. Some folks may or may not know, but Snap Stories runs on Temporal, and Snap was a really early adopter of Temporal. Well, every New Year's Eve, Snap traffic spikes quite a bit, and we start seeing the spike based on the time zones, right? Australia, New Zealand happens first, and then all the way to the West Coast. The first picture is a picture of some of our early employees, including our co-founder and CEO, Samar, for the first New Year Eve where Snap was running on Temporal. And literally, we showed up for them. We were in the office. We were with them on a Zoom as New Year started hitting and the spike started happening. That's reliability for a platform team. You show up for your customers. You were there with them through the highs and lows, and you make sure you're making them successful. The charts on the right are where we are now, where we have gotten so much better that we monitor it. We obviously chart it. We are there for them, but we don't have to show up in person because we know that the systems have been able to scale and are reliable, and we can deliver against what Snap needs. So again, that's being reliable, showing up for your customers, being there with them. Another example I have here is from Roblox. Does anybody remember the Halloween outage that Roblox had? Yes? Some heads are nodding. So this is from my time at HashiCorp. Roblox was running Console and Nomad and a couple of HashiCorp projects. Roblox went down on Halloween, and it literally took about 3 days to return to service. There's a blog on this. The thing you'll notice in the blog was put out by Roblox, but the thing you'll notice in that blog is how HashiCorp, how the engineering teams work together to make sure that Roblox was coming back online. And this, to me, again, is an example of how platform engineering, whether it's within the same company or a vendor that is consumed as a platform, how they partner with their consumers and their customers and are there for them. So I know I'm belaboring this point, but being reliable is the number one thing. If your platform is not reliable, there's so many options out there, and moving to another platform is really not that hard often, right? So this is strategy number 5, be reliable. Number 6, celebrate success. Very often, we platform engineering teams kind of live in like this part of the organization that nobody's really heard of. We are kind of quietly doing our work, and when a business unit is successful, we may or may not get a shout out. We may or may not be directly pulling in revenue, but it's really important for platform teams to celebrate success as well. At Temporal, we recently hit, in April, we hit 1,000 customers, and we celebrated that. We brought in a DJ on Zoom, and we've really been working towards sort of embracing this culture of success and celebrating it. Even simple things. These are examples from our internal Slack. We celebrate things like reduction in CPU usage. A note goes out to the whole company. We celebrated being part of the Redpoint Infrared 100 index. So you'll kind of see, the point here is these examples are very varied, but every single one of them makes a difference. You have to recognize the technical work, as well as the financial work, as well as the external recognition. And you need to celebrate success as your team makes progress. All right. And the 7th strategy is use those 6. So evolve using strategies. As platform organizations, it is, again, really important to not stand still. And honestly, right now, with all of the shifts happening, this becomes even more relevant. One of the ways that we are embracing this at Temporal is figuring out our AI evolution, for instance. We are partnering really closely with some early adopters on how they're using Temporal to build their agentic AI applications, and learning and iterating, celebrating those successes, and really showing up and being reliable for these customers as well. And so really, the point here with strategy number 7 is, don't be happy with where you are. You need to constantly be evolving, and you need to use these strategies to evolve the platform that you're building, as well as kind of embracing some of the new shifts and trends that are happening in the industry as well. Amazing. So I know there were a few folks that said they do know about Temporal. If you aren't already part of our community, do join us. You can start prototyping locally. We believe in idiomatic language SDKs. Fun fact here is that Python has, back in February, overtaken all our other languages in usage. And of course, we think that that has something to do with all of the AI work happening. We also have a cloud offering. You can sign up for cloud. You get credits. It's really easy. Come join our community. And with that, we do have some time for questions. Any questions on the floor?
I see some looking at me, hopeful. I mean, I'll break the ice for a second,
Yeah.
because I think everybody here, I mean, you have to tell us about Temporal in space. You can't give us one slide and then not say anything.
Yes, so Temporal in space. So there's a company, and I'm blanking out on their name, but they're based out of the UK. And what they do is essentially they'll send whatever you want to send up in space. And so we had a Raspberry Pi and our mascot kind of go up in space, and we were running essentially workflows. And of course, at some point, we lost the Raspberry Pi lost connectivity, and the workflow paused. And then you could see that as the machine was kind of coming back into orbit and picked up connectivity, the workflow picked up from exactly where it had dropped off and started executing. So we've got like a really short YouTube video on this that is linked off that Temporal in Space page. Definitely check that out. And we do these fun things. These things for us are not just about like how strongly we believe in death proof, did you say, around the tardigrade?
It's a funny word, hard to kill.
Hard to kill. Tardigrades are the most resilient life forms that exist on Earth. And we at Temporal believe in really resiliency and providing that for applications. And so perfect mascot for us. And so it was a really fun thing where we were recognizing our mascot, also showing how workflow executions pick up, and doing something fun with going out in space.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Of course.
Any questions around? I can see a lot of furious note-taking. We've got one over there. I'll jog to you.
Has anyone done something fun like that with their mascot? No?
So Temporal obviously has a very large breadth of customers, and you support like a lot of different languages. So how do you focus on making that whole like breadth of customers?
Yeah, that's a great question. We have a large breadth of customers and a number, like a large set of languages we support. It really is a testament to the platform. Essentially, at the end of the day, it's a programming model. And we've seen all of these use cases that honestly, we are also pleasantly surprised with, right? So one use case that sticks with me is we had a customer who was intentionally killing their machines because they knew that Temporal would make them crash-proof, and they would basically use that to get spot instances at lower cost. And so they had put this system in place with Temporal where their business wasn't getting disrupted, and they were saving money because they were utilizing spot instances and just like playing the spot instance market because Temporal is crash-proof. How do we do this? I think it's, again, a testament to the power of the core abstractions in the programming model and the community around it. Honestly, our SDKs are really built to be something that appeals to that language developer. And we put a lot of effort into it, and we get a lot of feedback from the open source community about it as well.
Cool, thanks.
Yeah. I always wanted, and we will probably do this at some time, I want to run a contest for the most creative use cases being built on Temporal and see what folks come up with.
So just maybe not a good question, but you're in the office at midnight every night for New Year's Eve for every one of the, why? I mean, you've talked about bulletproof. What are you doing there?
That's on me. That's my personality. I don't need to be there, but one of the things that gives me a tremendous amount of gratification is kind of seeing how customers use the product. And with the cloud model, it is really easy for us to see what service we are providing them. I don't need to be there, but I'm just wired that way.
Any problems on New Year's Eve for them?
Nope. I also find it fascinating to see how the world how digital footprints across the world work. So this is all on me, yeah.
Any final questions? Oh, I knew once I broke the ice, you'd start to get excited.
Hi, I'm curious about, how do you see the relationship between Temporal and then specifically platform teams at your customers? Do they offer, they wrap Temporal, they wrap workflows, just kind of how does that world work?
Yeah. Well, because we are a broad platform, we see a number of different flavors. We do encourage customers to have platform teams around Temporal, and we view ourselves to be an extension of that platform team. So we are not, our business model is consumption-based. So we are in there to make teams successful. And so, if a customer doesn't have a platform team, then we will do all that work around being the platform team for them. To the question around how they expose this, we see, again, a wide variety of things. We've got some customers that will wrap our SDKs because they want to put their business-specific monitoring in place or their own sort of policies around security. We have some customers that will route all of the temporal traffic through a proxy because they want to do logging there. So we are seeing a number of different patterns emerge. But it's very clear that organizations that have platform teams are able to leverage temporal a lot faster and see that value come a lot sooner than others. And it's also, the pattern around one team bringing temporal in and that team then suddenly gets bombarded with a lot of questions is hard for that team. And so we do want people to build platform teams around temporal. Awesome. Well, I think we're up at time, or? Yeah.
We are out
Great.
of time.
There's one question there, but I'll come find you. Yeah.
So,
thank you so much.
Thank you so much.